Hi, everyone. So my name is Kiyana Mensah. I am the founder of Back to the Basics Tutoring, as well as Mensah Educational Consulting. And I'm here to talk to you today about the importance of an IEP and or 504 plan. As Mensah Educational Consulting, what we do is we help families to advocate for children who may have special needs and they need additional support in the classroom environment to help prepare them for future education, future employment, and independent living. Some of the miscommon things that people have about IEPs is what's classified as being or needing an IEP. So just want to talk really quick about that. If your child has a condition or an impairment of some sort that impedes on their academic performance, because of that, they may be eligible for an IEP. That's something that you want to discuss specifically with your IEP team or your child's pediatrician. But oftentimes people are not aware that they may need that, or their child may have a 504 plan, and then they don't understand that at some point their child may need it to be switched over to a IEP because the 504 plan is only for the accommodation, whereas the IEP helps with the academic support. So first things first, I want to talk about the difference between the IEP and the 504 plan. So the IEP is for, like I said earlier, if your child has a condition that prevents them from performing academically. An example of that would be, let's say, dyslexia. If your child has dyslexia, they may not be able to perform as a student who does not have such said conditions or disabilities or special needs. And so therefore they may need extra services or things that can help them be assisted in the classroom. For example, they may need assistive technology, they may need a scribe, they may need some additional support through Google Read and Write. They may need additional teachers to help them be able to perform or actually have the same chance as someone who does not have dyslexia. As for someone like a 504 plan, just giving an example, someone who may have a nut allergy that does not impede on their academic performance, but they have a special accommodation where they may need a separate table or something like that can keep them, or if the child has a wheelchair, they may need certain accommodations to be added so that they can have a chance. So that's the difference between the 504 plan and the IEP. And the gist, one of the things that a lot of time people don't know is that if you have worked with your school's IEP team and for some time it feels like it's not working, the accommodations or the special requests or specialized instruction that you have is not working, you have the right to request another IEP meeting prior to the actual yearly reevaluation period. A lot of times parents are not aware of that. Parents or guardians are not aware. So let's just say hypothetically, your child has an IEP and you and the team sat down 5 months ago and determined that these 4 things will be something that's working. After 5 or 6 months of that, you notice that there is absolutely no improvement and you want to revisit that, you can ask the school a request for another IEP meeting. Now, it's not completely mandatory, but you can request it, and the school has an option to allow you to have another one. But it is by law, so it's kind of like a little tricky with that, but typically you want to make that request through the school. You do not have to wait. One of the other things about advocacy, you can definitely hire an advocate to come into or go on your behalf to the IEP meetings or annual reviews, or just have someone review the IEP, make a parent request or parent statement for you so that you don't have to be as involved A lot of times across the IEP table, the parents are very, very emotional, as they should be, because they're talking about their precious children. And sometimes because of the emotions are so high that some important things can go um, over your head because you are so you're so into what's happening, or they may have said something that may have triggered you and made you feel emotional, or just the entire process is emotional and overwhelming, and you're not able to give your entire self. Whereas when you have an advocate, they're impartial and they can help you get across your points and make sure that everything that you've heard or said is either in writing, and that it follows the law. Another thing that is very important is getting to know your IEP team. Um, Having an IEP team does not mean it has to be controversial. A lot of times people are so against their team, or the teacher said this. What you want to know is that it takes a village to raise a child, and your IEP team is somebody you want to be good in with, because you want to be able to keep the open lines of communication with them, and just make sure that you have what you need during the process. So sometimes you need someone to bridge that gap, because the school may be trying to tell you something, but because you've had a prior bad experience, or even a bad experience with that school, you may not be able to hear it, or the school may not be necessarily hearing your concerns. And so sometimes having an advocate can bridge that gap. What I wanted to offer and let you guys know is that we at Mensah Educational Consulting actually offers those services as an advocate. We can help write IEPs, we can review IEPs, we can help do accommodation requests. We can also go and attend IEP meetings, get in contact with the teachers or the schools involved. We can get a particular release where we can get medical records to help form. We can get a release from you we can send it to the school, so that we would be able to get information about you and your child to help with your IEP or 504 plan. One of the things that is so amazing about hiring an advocate is that it takes a burden off of your shoulders. We have sat in numerous of IEP meetings, and the first thing that we hear from our parents is, thank you. Thank you, because you were able to help us when we didn't know what to say. You were able to advocate for things that we didn't quite understand we needed. Oftentimes, because we are advocating for your family, what we do is we study what your child's condition or impairment or situation or special need is, because we can't fully advocate for you unless we understand exactly what's going on. So just because your child has something that is common, right, that everybody may have heard of, does not mean that what everybody knows fits your child's needs. So we need to understand more about your child. We need to more understand about what you see as a parent. What does your intuition tell you as a parent? We want to know all of those things. And so a lot of times what we do is we sit down with our families, do a consultation, understand what their needs are. And then after we have to come upon an agreement, we come together and we do the research to understand what your child's needs are. And then we move forward in writing the request and sending off the letters to our school districts so that we can get those in place. You want to have an IEP, because if your child struggles with reading for whatever the reasoning is, and they are qualified for an IEP, that can help them be able to progress in their academic careers without the struggle. Oftentimes kids lose their drive and their energy for school if they struggle with special needs. Now, if your child has a special need that is not something that is on a higher magnitude, let's say that they have a cognitive impairment that is keeping them from being verbal or things like that, we want to make sure that they are getting the best care possible as well, and setting them up for, again, future education, future employment, and independent living. We want to make sure that what's happening in the school, you know about it. You guys are on the same team. Your school is not your enemy. It should be your team member, and we want to help bridge that gap for you. So if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to our office. Our phone number is 414-973-1009. Again, 414-973-1009. Or you can reach out to us at mensahconsulting.org, mensahconsulting.org, and just kind of go from there. You don't want to wait. If you have questions, you can schedule a free consultation, which will just kind of give us information about you, and let us know what you think. So just know that you're not in this alone, and we hope that everything works out well. And if you need us, you know how to find us. Remember, IEP should not be a process that's very hurtful and harmful for you. It should be a process that's easy and smooth so that you can get what your child needs to prepare them. And thank you so much for your time.